folks. Chris Waters here on the GameSpot stage. Thanks for sticking with us during our comprehensive coverage of E3 2014. Joining me on stage, a man behind one of the games that Sony is touting a lot this year, Paul Rashchinsky. I had it in the intro.
This time.
Paul Rashchinsky from Evolution Studios. Thank you for joining me. So sorry about the name
it's great
fiasco.
to be here. Thanks.
But Driveclub.
Yes.
Driveclub had a great showing yesterday at Sony's press conference. And
we weren't there.
You guys got setups over here, people in some pods, racing with the wheel, trying it out. How's it going for you?
It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone's been able to get hands-on play with club versus club online racing, getting to try out the new Thrustmaster T300 wheel on the pods. And also this morning we announced weather. So that's dynamic rain, dynamic snow, and it's been a great start to E3 for us.
Paul, I love the context because weather is so impactful when it comes to racing because there's a tire choice, there's that. But saying that you announced weather, do you ever like crack a smile when you do that? Like, guys, we got this great new thing.
Yeah.
Weather. But yeah, you know, that is such a factor in terms of your driving tactics and what sort of speed you're coming into corners, what kind of car you want to drive.
It changes gameplay altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just the fact that obviously it's going to make it slippier, but it's that having to change your tactics as you drive because it might start dry, go wet, then dry up again, so you're having to react on the fly. Say, for example, it's in the snow at night, visibility just becomes a nightmare because you're racing with your full beams on, all you can see is the snow rushing towards the windscreen. It's you're almost racing blind.
Terribly irresponsible.
Yeah, but that's why you have video games.
Absolutely, love them. And that's that transition of weather brings up something that I think is really interesting about the game. You can do some custom settings and set it to be a race that goes through a whole day-night cycle, goes through a bunch of different weather cycles without having it be excessively long.
Yeah, you've got full control over any time of day and how fast it transitions, and you can do the same thing with the weather as well now. So you can say, I want the race to start wet and then end dry, or transition through various states throughout the race. So you can totally decide all that, and then if you want to, send it as a challenge, and anyone else who participates in that challenge gets to play the exact same race that you did.
And so, throwing challenges out there, throwing down the gauntlet. Yeah. Actually, that's something I want to get into because it's such an integral part of your game and sort of the social ecosystem. But first, give us some context for what we're actually watching on screen.
Okay, this is actually a racing wheel demo that Carl's playing right now, and he's just literally racing through, I think, Chile right now in the Ferrari F12, and we're just showing off basically just how good the game looks in this instance. This actually doesn't have any of the social connectivity. Normally what you see if this was connected online right now, you'd have what we call face-offs. Face-offs are dynamic challenges which get placed into the world. So, for example, the next corner, Carl could be driving around it and a new challenge gets dropped in. That could be from a friend or from a clubmate, and it might be trying to beat the best drift score or beat the best average speed. It just means that whether you're in last place, like he is right now, there's always different things for him to try and do. It's the same thing with overdrives. Every action you do inside the game, whether it's drifting, drafting, overtaking, clean racing, you're rewarded for doing so. And the cool thing is, if Carl was part of a club right now, it would actually be rewarding his club as well. Because everything you do contributes towards your club. And as your club levels up, you earn rewards exclusively for your club. So I could stop playing the game for a few days, come back, and my club has unlocked me a new car.
You've got some new stuff because you're rolling with the right club.
Yes.
Do you have to be exclusive, though? Do we practice club monogamy in Driveclub?
Completely exclusive, yes. You have to be monogamous in Driveclub. Yeah.
All right.
Because it means that, I guess, when you get the elite clubs as well, you'll be fighting over best players. So it's like, we want to be the best club in the entire world. And that means we have to try and steal maybe the best racers from around the world to be in your club so you can reach the top of the heights.
I didn't even think about that aspect of it, but you're totally right. Anytime you get competition to an appropriately high level, that super high competitive level, then the players become,
we always compare it to like football and stuff, where you're trying to steal best players from different teams. So it's like, we want the best players in our club.
Absolutely. So, we're working out some sort of points or card transfer system in here to like lure players away.
Oh, I haven't thought of that yet. That sounds like a good idea, though.
Because, otherwise it's just talk, Paul. All right, while you're talking about sort of those active challenges piping in, reminds me of something you said when talking about the game in an article I was reading before. I like the idea you don't have to be in first place.
Yes.
And Paul, I like that idea too, because I so rarely am, and having something to still strive for, aside from the monolithic goal of get in front of the next guy until there are no more guys to get in front of, really appeals to me as someone who, honestly is not terribly skilled at racing games.
Yeah, and that's one of the key things with Driveclub. We wanted to appeal to a wider audience than a typical sort of sim racer. The PlayStation platform has Gran Turismo, and for those hardcore racers, that's amazing. But we want to make sure Driveclub is kind of this pick-up-and-play racing game. It's still got all the depth and the the distinction between all the various cars that handle completely differently. But we want to make sure people can pick up the game, slam down the throttle, and have a bit of fun. And if you spend a bit more time with it, obviously you'll be able to call off cool moves such as trail braking, Scandinavian flicks, etc. Because every car truly is unique in Driveclub.
Absolutely. I mean, well, what do you mean by every car being truly unique?
Well, what we try to do with every new car is make sure that we capture the personality and the essence. Because we were lucky enough, but this is one of the amazing things about my job, is I get to go out and drive a lot of these cars.
Yeah, you've done well there, Paul.
Yeah, just even sitting inside one, to turning on the engine, listening to the engine note, or the handling characteristics, they are so different. You might think that the Ferrari F12 and the Ferrari 458 have a few things that cross over because they're from the same manufacturer. Totally different beasts, and we want to make sure we represent everything from how it looks to how it sounds, how it plays with every car we have.
And you guys have said, you travel around the world chasing these high-powered, high-performance cars just so you can record them with high fidelity. Yeah. And you're pulling in like star charts from NASA to populate the nighttime skies. Like, what's sort of the end goal of all of that deep attention to detail?
I mean, it's just one of the things in our DNA at Evolution. We've got so many kind of characters, our art director, our co-director, they're all obsessed with detail. They want everything to be just like real life. And we're building this engine so that we can go on and make other games as well, which capture all of these amazing details in the future. So it's creating a platform for us to go on and move forwards as well.
And so you guys, this is a whole new engine you're building for Driveclub, and you've
from scratch.
And you've done a little bit of sort of revamping of it over the past couple of years, right?
Well, our engine obviously on PlayStation 3 that went through a variety of different cycles, but the new Driveclub engine is built up from the ground, so that there's nothing that's been reused from any of our Motorstorm titles or WRC games, because the PlayStation 4 architecture is totally different, and we want to make sure we harness every little bit of it.
And you guys are certainly being positioned as sort of one of these showcase games, right? Sony's like, hey, Driveclub, check this out. This is what it looks like to play on a PlayStation 4. Look at this. You can see all this. You can see Orion, man. Like, unless you're in the southern hemisphere, then you can only see it on this month. Like, but do how does it feel to be sort of in that marquee position?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, there's no better position to be on the PlayStation 4, getting the support from Sony, showing it to the world. So, it's amazing. I mean, we've done Motorstorm and WRC, and they've been great games, but I think Driveclub's going to blow all of those away.
And now we're looking at the racing here on another track. Seeing some open wheel cars up there. We got like an F1 car in the mix. What's the variety, the sort of scope you guys have set out for your cars?
Of the cars, so we got everything from hot hatches such as Golf GTIs, through to performance cars such as Maserati GTs, so supercars such as Ferrari F12, or the one you just mentioned there is the BSE Mono, which is a single-seater cockpit racing car, which I've driven in Silverstone, and it's an amazing experience. And then we've got hypercars such as the Hennessy Venom GT. So we think we've got like a really wide breadth of cars, but kind of handpicking the best we think from each of those sort of categories.
Now you've been lucky enough to drive some of these cars, and that's obviously a thrill for you. Just out of curiosity, you guys have any people at Evolution who are just like kind of crap drivers?
Yeah,
I really love this stuff virtually, but like, get me behind my minivan and I'm just going to be all right.
The skill range between people at Evolution is massive. Even the petrol heads don't always play racing games that well, but you get them on the track in real life, because we do like karting days and stuff, and they'll blow you away on the real track. But yeah, it's a sort of game actually. I think where more people in the office have actually got into playing more, just for fun, because it is that more accessible sort of game. Motorstorm was like seriously intense. WRC was very simulation based. So this has appealed to all of us, and we are major petrol heads at Evolution as well. We're proper into our cars.
Well, you're passionate about something that's going to show in your work, and I think that's definitely folks have found their way to Evolution. They've probably are in the right place.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about track design here as we head into the mountains. You guys, do you have actual tracks from the real world in the game, or are these all sprung from your imaginations?
Well, I wouldn't say they're sprung from our imaginations, because we go to each of these locations, so that's Norway, India, Chile, Canada, Scotland, and we send an entire team out there who do full reference footage. We capture things like albedo levels of the light, thousands and thousands of pictures for photo reference, etc. And we try to take the essence of each of these locations and then transfer them to our game. So you won't see like a track like Silverstone or Laguna Seca or anything like that. But you will see like parts of the road, and you'll go, oh, if you've been to Norway, you might have been to this area. You might think this looks very familiar, but all the roads have been hand built to offer the kind of the best gameplay suited to Driveclub.
Very cool. And so when you're building your driving model, right? How these cars handle, you're constantly tweaking. I'd imagine you're constantly balancing, constantly making it feel right. Does that mean you're also constantly tweaking the tracks, or do you sort of lay down the tracks the way you like them and then do the tweaking on the cars to make them sort of feel right?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. What we tend to do is we build the tracks, and then we develop our handling model to work on those tracks, but then we do a little bit of tweaking on the tracks, but then we lock them down, and then it's all about doing the handling tweaking.
Okay.
And we're still doing that handling tweaking right now. We're going to do it all the way up to the wire to make sure we've kind of got every little characteristics of the cars in the game.
And let's be honest, probably past the wire, long into the life of Driveclub.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because Driveclub isn't just going to be, we'll put the disc out, job done.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that there's going to be new features, new content, reasons for people to keep playing Driveclub after release. So we're not talking about all the details just yet, but
you're not going to lay out your whole DLC plan for me, Paul.
But I think there's going to be a lot of things to keep people active and playing Driveclub for quite a while.
And certainly one of those things is the social integration that you guys are really pushing. And I'm actually curious, sort of, that's a lot of this. It's coming in during gameplay. It's connecting with your PlayStation Network friends. Is this sort of stuff that you also, with the PlayStation 4, you got to contend with the share button and player feeds, and so how does that sort of factor into the way you're structuring this whole network?
Yeah, well, PlayStation 4 has a lot of really cool social features, which allows us to kind of push activities out of Driveclub. So that's like you're on your PlayStation dashboard, and there's a new feature, I think, in the latest firmware called Game Alerts. And so what we can do when there's a new challenge or someone invites you to a club, we can tell you that even though you haven't gone into Driveclub. So you'll be flicking through all your games, Watch Dogs, etc., and it's like, oh wait, Driveclub's trying to tell me I've got some new stuff, so you can jump into the game from the Game Alerts.
Yep.
And we've got our Driveclub app called My Driveclub, available on iOS and Android, and you'll be able to keep up to date with everything that's going on inside Driveclub on the app, as well as live streaming people playing the game.
Now, when you say everything that's going on in Driveclub, that's a little daunting. So, like, let's say I, me and my high school buddies, we're the Ninja Clan Drive Club. We've got, we're trying to we're resurrecting our old myth clan. We're playing. I really care about what they're doing. Of course, I care about what they're doing. What other stuff do you want to let me know about? Like the dudes at the top, racing for pink slips and whatnot. Sort of, how do you calibrate the level of messaging you deliver to the player?
And this has been a really difficult thing to get right, because you're always kind of on this balance of, is there too much spam, or am I not giving the player enough information?
Yeah.
And so what we try and do, we filter a lot of the information relative to where you are inside the game. So if you're on the main menu, we'll give you kind of a global overview of the main things that are happening inside your world. If you go into clubs, you'll see visibility of what's going on in your club or clubs that you're connected to. If you go into challenges, you'll see all the latest challenges. But there's also a direct activity feed. By pressing triangle at any point, we'll bring up your activity feed, which is basically stuff that's specific to you. So there's so many different views on all this content, so you've always got the right information at the right point.
Very cool, very cool. Paul, it seems like Driveclub's coming along well. You guys, certainly have a lot of ambition in terms of what you're trying to deliver on just on a purely technical level, on a social level, and this is all coming together. Are you coming out this year, or are we going to wait till 2015?
We're out October 7th.
October 7th.
In the US.
That month is going to be murder, man. There's so many games.
It's a busy time.
But it's so much to get excited about. And
I mean, as a gamer, it's just amazing.
A lot of folks are getting into Driveclub. One more before you go. I know you've mentioned this before, and it was only got a brief mention in the press conference yesterday, but talk to me about Morpheus VR.
That's a really exciting piece of technology.
Yeah.
It's not something we're actively developing for Driveclub right now, but we do have a team at Evolution who are working with that technology. So
checking it out and seeing what might be in Evolution's future for the Morpheus.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait till E3 2015 to find that out. But Paul, thank you so much for coming on the stage. Driveclub shaping up really well. October 7th. is the release date for PlayStation 4. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching here on twitch.tv/GameSpot, we're so psyched you are, but if you head on over to GameSpot, you get access to not just this stage, but also our other live stage where we have a whole full slate of demos going there. I think Civilization 5 Beyond Earth, is there even a number? No, it's Beyond Earth, the new Civilization game. Just wrapped up over there a little while ago. We've got more demos there, as well as reports from the show floor and all kinds of on-demand video there for you to check out. So maybe swing over there and check it out. But stick on this stage. Next, we're going to head up to see some Batman out on the show floor, and then it's back here for an extra special double-long demo of Middle-earth: Shadows of Mordor. I, as a big Lord of the Rings fan, am super stoked for this one, so don't go away.